What's up guys, Westler here, and today we're back for another game development video. Today we're going to be talking about GitHub, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to get it installed, get your Unreal project on it, and just what GitHub is and why you should probably be using it. Because really you should be using GitHub. If you're not using GitHub, you really should be. It's a good way to back up your project. It's a good way to have source control on your project. It's a good way to work on your project if you're using multiple different devices. There are a whole bunch of different reasons why you should be using GitHub, so you should probably use GitHub, in my honest opinion. So with that being said, let's just get into this tutorial thing video, random upload that I do once in every 3 months or whatever. Probably no one's gonna watch this, but if you are watching this, thank you. I really do appreciate you taking the time out of your precious day to watch this cool GitHub Unreal Engine tutorial thing. So you're probably wondering, what the heck is GitHub? Well, GitHub is a source control for developers. It can be used for multiple different development platforms, including Unity, just coding projects using Visual Studio Code, Unreal Engine. It supports a lot of different kinds of projects that you may or may not be working on. But some of the main reasons why you might want to use GitHub is to back up your project. That way you're not making backups on a separate drive or a flash drive or having 80,000 different backups. That was the way that I used to make backups of the Amazing Ball. It was terrible. And I had to have 5 different backups made of the game project in case something were to happen. But GitHub alleviates that because your project's kind of just up in the cloud, and it's kind of nice. You can use it as backup. You can use it as a way to work on your project from multiple different devices. So say you are going on vacation, but you still want to be able to work on your game, and you could bring your laptop, grab the repository, pull it down, and you could work on it on your laptop or another desktop computer or whatever you may need to work on it on. You'd be able to work on it on multiple different devices, and it would all be fine, and you'd be able to commit changes and make the changes, and it'll affect the whole project, right? You'd be able to make changes on the fly, and you'd be able to do it on any device that you have GitHub installed on, which is pretty cool. Another reason why you might want to use GitHub is if you have a team of people. So if you have multiple people working on your game, so you are, say, a team of 5 people, all 5 of you can get onto GitHub, and you could all make changes to the project and add stuff and stuff like that. So that's another reason why you might want to use GitHub. If you're a solo developer, main reason would be to work on it from multiple different devices and to have a backup of your project available at all times instead of having to have it backed up on a whole bunch of different other things. So yeah, with this tutorial, we'll be using GitHub with respect to Unreal Engine, but remember, it can be used with Unity and other projects. They have a whole bunch of different pre-made Git ignore files that we'll get into later for various different projects. And I will be covering the 2 different ways we can make a GitHub repository. There's actually more than that. There's probably 3 ways actually, but I'm going to assume that everyone here is a beginner, so we're going to be using GitHub Desktop to manage our commits to our repository, and that's about it. We're going to just be using GitHub Desktop. You can also make a repository on the GitHub website. I'll cover that too. You could also do it from the command line, but that's probably a little bit more advanced, and if you're a beginner, that's probably not going to be the way you're going to want to do it. So you're probably going to want a GUI available. So that's why we're going to use GitHub Desktop, which is mainly what I use, ironically, despite being fine with the command line. But I kind of like having a GUI available. My mind might change in that in the future, but yeah. So with that being said, let's get into this tutorial. All right, so first things first, you want to go to github.com. I'll have a link in the description for all the different things that we're going to need. So you'll just click those links and you'll be able to get to this real quickly. You're going to want to click sign up, and you're going to want to sign up, give them your email, password, yada, 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 the whole sign up process. If you already have an account, you're going to want to sign in. You may have used GitHub Desktop before, or just GitHub in general before, maybe not with respect to Unreal Engine. So in that case, you're going to want to click sign in, which is exactly what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to sign in real quick, so I'll be right back. All right, so first things first, you're going to want to create a GitHub account. You're going to need to go to github.com to do this. I'm already logged in. Once you log in and you get all signed up and stuff, you'll be on a page similar to this. You're not going to have any repositories or anything like that on here. It'll just be kind of just similar to this page, except for the fact that there won't be any repositories or anything like that. It'll look something like this. After that, after you've made an account with GitHub, you're going to need to install GitHub Desktop and Git large file storage. You might not need the large file storage because it only depends on like large files like FBX files and stuff like that. If you're not going to be working with any large files, you could probably get away without ever installing that and never having to deal with it or use it. But for the sake of this tutorial, you might want to install that as well. So you're going to want to go to GitHub, desktop.github.com and download the GitHub Desktop app. It's just right here. And then after that, you're going to want to go to gitlfs.github.com and download this as well. I'll have a link in the description to all three of these websites, so that way you could download the stuff that you need and also make an account with GitHub. All right. So that's pretty much all you're going to need for this. After this, we can get into making your repository for your project. So you're going to want to go back to github.com. There are two ways we can make a repository so far. We're not going to include the third way, which would be through command line. We're not going to worry about that today. We're worrying about just the basics here. So there are two ways for us to make a repository for our project. The first one is through github.com, and the second one is through the GitHub Desktop app. I'm going to show both. So this first one is going to be through github.com, and then after that, we'll make one through the GitHub Desktop app. Do whichever you prefer. It really doesn't matter. If you're just going to follow along with what I'm doing right here, you can make one here on the website and you'll be all good to go. So yeah, with that being said, let's do it. So we're going to go ahead and click new here. And it's going to pop up some stuff here. You're not going to have to worry about a repository template. You're not making a template or anything. You're just putting your own project on here. So you're not going to have to worry about that. You're going to want to give your repository a name. I'm going to just name it tutorial. So just like that. Give it a description. You're going to want to make sure that it's private because this is your own personal project, right? Unless you're wanting it to be publicly viewable by everyone on the internet, you can make it public so everyone can see it. But if it is a private project that you're wanting to just work on yourself, you just want to make that private. You're probably not going to need a README file unless it is a public repository or you're making like some open source software or something like that, or in this case, an open source game. You're going to want to, you might want a README file then. Otherwise, since this is just a private one, we don't need a README. Add git ignore. So this is going to be very important for whatever kind of project you're working on. In this case, this video is with respect to Unreal Engine, but just know that there are plenty of other options here for GitHub projects, and there's a lot of stuff here. So for Unreal Engine, we can go ahead and just filter it and just type in Unreal. Unity is also an option as well, so if you are going to be working with Unity, you could use that too. But this video is about Unreal Engine and GitHub. We might have another tutorial in the future working with how to get your project on Unity up on GitHub as well. It's a very similar process to this video, so you could probably follow along with your Unity project as well. It's probably going to be much the same. We are going to select our git ignore template as Unreal Engine, or I guess in this case Unity if you are following along with Unity. And you're not going to need to worry about a license. This is for, if you had open source code or something like that. If it was an open source project, then you would probably want to worry about a license. But in this case, since this is our own private repository, we don't need to worry about that. And then after that, you just click create and you're all set to go. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much how simple it is through the GitHub website. And then we're going to want to open it when we're done in GitHub Desktop. So we'll move on to the GitHub, how to make a repository in GitHub Desktop right now. Editing Questlove here. It would seem I forgot a key part after making our GitHub repository using github.com. We need to get our GitHub repository in GitHub Desktop. This is just the Blueprinting 101 repository that I made in GitHub Desktop, but if you did go the route of making the GitHub repository using github.com, what you're going to need to do to get it into GitHub Desktop is to click the code button here and go over to open with GitHub Desktop, and it will ask you to open it up, and then you could do it that way. Since I already have it on here, it's going to be fine, but if it's not already on there, it'll automatically add it to the repositories, and you could fetch the origin and you'll be all good, and you'll have all the changes on your system to whatever file path you want to put it into. I'm sorry I forgot to mention that. After doing that, I completely forgot. My bad. All right, so here we are in GitHub Desktop. After you installed this is probably what's on your screen right now, or maybe you minimized it and made the repository in the browser. Either way, this is what GitHub Desktop looks like. So nothing too crazy here. It's really not all that difficult. To start with, you're going to want to log into your GitHub account. I'm already signed in, so this is no big deal. You might want to change your integrations here. You can use Visual Studio Code or something like that if you have that installed, or Notepad++. I'm using Notepad++. And you could choose what kind of shell you want to work with or whatever. You probably don't need to change any of this. It's fine. Appearance, Git really doesn't have much to deal with here. If you want to change the appearance of GitHub Desktop, you can do that. They have a dark theme and a light theme. I prefer the dark theme, but if you like the light theme, you can blind yourself with the light theme if you want. After that, there isn't really much here to worry about. I wouldn't really touch any of that, so we can just move on. After that, you're going to want to create a new repository, and you're going to want to give it a name. So I'm going to name this blueprinting underscore 101. And this is going to be for I'm going to just have a description for it, the blueprinting 101 Unreal Engine blueprinting 101 repo. That's going to be the description for it. You're going to want to choose a local path. So I just have it set to my Unreal Engine projects folder. You can put this wherever you want. It's really up to you where you want it to have the local path on your computer. I'm going to initialize this with a README because this is going to be public. So this is just going to be public to all of you. You all will be able to access this repository because this is from the Blueprinting 101 series. So that way you guys can have access to all the code and stuff that way if you want to go check it out. Again, we're going to want to choose our Git Ignore. We're going to scroll down here to Unreal Engine. We just got to find it real quick here. It should be closer to the bottom right here. And you don't need to worry about a license or anything like that. It's fine. So again, you'll be all set. And just click Create Repository. And from then, it's going to say, hey, you're going to need to publish it. So you click Publish. I'm not going to keep this code private. It's going to be open, but you're going to want to have to make sure that keep this code private is checked if it is a personal project for yourself and you don't want anyone else to look at it. And then after that, we click Publish. And it's going to publish, and it's going to fetch and stuff. We'll go ahead and fetch one more time. And as we can see here, if we go over to the history, we have the initial commit, the Git Ignore, the Git attributes, and the README. And that's pretty much all that this came with. If you didn't include the README, you're not going to have a README. You're only going to have two things here, and that's all good. So now on to actually getting our Unreal Engine project into GitHub and get it committed and all set to go. So to do that, we're going to want to go find our Unreal Engine project. Mine is on my game development drive. You may have it on your C drive. Just go to wherever your projects are located. We're going to grab the tutorial series one here, and I'm going to copy this. I meant copy, not cut. We're going to want to copy this, and we're going to paste it right in this folder, just like this. You're not going to want to include the entire project folder. Just grab the contents from the project like so and paste it in here. And this will take a sec, but you'll be all set once this is all done copying. Okay, so our project is all copied over into our GitHub project file here, and all we need to do is we can go over to our changes here, and these are all the changes that are being made since this is the first time that you are going to since this is the first time that you have made the repository and you just copied in all these folders and stuff. You're going to have a lot of stuff being committed. So I'm going to just put Unreal project, and we'll add a nice description. So we have the Unreal Engine project initial commit, and we just have a nice description here, the initial commit of our Unreal Engine project. So these are all the changes. After that, you're going to want to hit commit to main. This is the current branch that our project is on. We can make more branches. So say if it's a bigger project, we want a development branch, a release branch, a testing branch. We could add those different branches, and you could work in them separately of one another, and then merging them with like the release branch when things are stable after it went through the testing branch or whatever. Those are more advanced things that you could do. For now, we're just going to keep it with the main default branch, which is just main, and that's fine. No big deal. Again, this is the first time we are committing this, so after that, we'll just commit it, and it's going to take a sec. It's going to go through all the things, and this may take a few minutes to do your initial commit with your Unreal Engine project, especially if you've been working on this project for a while and it is a large project. It has to go through compressing everything and then uploading it to the GitHub servers once it is done. So this is very important that you just take your time with this. Give it a chance to get through what it needs to get through. This may take a few minutes. And just go make yourself a cup of hot cocoa while it is committing and stuff. After it's done committing, you're going to need to push it. We'll get to that when we're at that point, but after that, you're going to need to push it, and that may take a few more minutes. So, like, in total, this probably could range anywhere between, like, depending on how big your project is, from, like, 5 minutes to 30, depending on how big your project is. So, just take your time, don't rush it, and it'll be all good. So, I'll be back once we are ready to push our changes to the GitHub repository. So, I will be back in a few. All right, so the changes have now been committed, and now all we need to do is push it. Just know that we can still undo this, and it's just saying, hey, you need to commit this now, or you need to push it to the origin branch. So that would be to main, and all we have to do is click this nice little push button, and it's going to compress things and get it pushed up to the GitHub servers, so that way our project will be all nice and saved for us in the cloud, which is quite nice. Good way to keep your projects backed up, as I have said a million times before. So again, we're going to wait for this to push. This may take a few minutes. Give it a chance. And once it's all pushed, we'll be able to open our project in the engine and start making changes. Just know that after this main push, none of the other pushes will ever be as long to get through as this one. So they're going to be a lot shorter. They're going to take a lot less time to push and commit changes to the repository. So don't worry about that. This is just, since this is the first time we're pushing the initial project and everything with it into our repository, and that just takes a sec. So, but all future pushes will be a lot shorter in time, and they should be practically instant. So yeah, I think this is about done. Cool. So now it is all pushed. We can go ahead and fetch the origin real quick. If you've made changes on a separate computer and you want to grab those changes and pull them down to your computer that you're on right now, fetch is what does that. I probably should have explained the basics of this when we open it up for the first time, but fetching the origin will see if there's any changes to the repository in the cloud, and if there is, you can pull those changes to your current computer that you're working on. So now that we've done all of our stuff, we've pushed it and stuff, and we have our project now in GitHub, we can now open up Unreal Engine and go ahead and open up our project. So we're going to go ahead and open up Unreal Engine. If you're doing this with Unity, you can open up Unity, I guess in this case. This is more geared towards Unreal Engine, but you probably can get away with the same process for Unity as well for this whole process. So we're going to give this a chance to do its thing. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to browse for our project in Blueprinting 101. We're going to grab it. We're going to open it. You're going to need to browse for it probably for the first time. It may not pop up in the thing automatically, or it might, depending on, I guess if it does. I don't know if it will for you, but it's all, I just browse for it to make it easier. And as you can see, we are in our cool little project. Now, say, I don't know, we're going to make a change real quick. So we're going to move the position of this cube here, and we're going to save that, right? And this is in the third person map. And now if we go back, we have the changes now. So, and now we can push these changes. So I'm going to put just moved cube and map. And add a description. I moved the cube in the third person map. And we'll commit that and push it. And now our changes have been we have made changes to the repository, and we have made our first push to the repository in our own little scene here. So now if we go and we're to, close this and stuff, this will all save on our system, but it'll also be saved up in our repository as well. So yeah, that's pretty cool. We can go ahead and exit that now. And now we have successfully made an initial commit, and we have now pushed our own change to our project to the repository. Now we're going to get into how the heck do we deal with large files. Now this is going to be a little bit of a process, and you're going to have to go into the command line for this. I know I said this is a beginner tutorial, and if you're not working with large files, you could probably get away without ever having to do this. So if you're not going to be working with any large files or anything like that, and you don't think that it'll be a problem, I guess you could close out of this video now and be on your merry way. But for those of you that are going to be dealing with larger projects that are going to have to deal with bigger files, you may want to take these steps into mind and just do them. So first things first, you're going to want to go over to the wherever your repository is saved on your system. So we're going to just hit Show in File Explorer here. And if you're not on Windows 11, you could probably just right-click, and you'll get a menu similar to this that says Open in Git Bash. I don't have that option. So we're going to have to do multiple commands to make sure we get to this cool little blueprinting 101 repository file. So that's what we're going to have to do. And if you're wondering, there are directions on the GitHub LFS website. We're really just going to be doing these commands right here. So we're going to do git LFS install, and then we'll start tracking whatever files we need to do. And we're going to need to make sure that the git attributes is also tracked. So these are just the commands that we're going to be typing in. It's really not going to be that hard, and just maybe getting to that file if you're on Windows 11 may be a little difficult. So just follow along with me and you'll be fine, and just follow the commands that I'm doing. All right, so if you're not on Windows 10 and you are on Windows 11 and you can't right click and open up the Git Bash menu, you're going to need to go to your start menu and type in Git. I don't know why it typed an I, but Git. So, and you're going to want to open up Git Bash. It's going to pop up a little terminal here for you. It may be in a command prompt or in the new Windows terminal. Don't worry about this. It's not a big deal. All we're going to want to do is go to whatever location our project is in. If this is on the C drive, this is going to be fine. So in this case, if it's like on your C drive, you can do ls, and it will show all the cool little folders here that you can look for. And you could try to find it this way. You could also copy, so if it is on the C drive, you could just copy this, say for example, Control C this, copy the path and do CD, and then type in the file path. So since this is the file path, say it'll be in like the C drive, I don't know, documents or something like that, you can just do that, and you could do CD documents, and you'll be in your documents folder wherever your project is stored. But in my case, I don't have that option. It is on a separate drive. So if your project is on a separate drive, you're going to want to go and type in the drive. You're going to want to go in and type in the drive like so. So now we are in the correct drive. We can do ls, and that's just going to list the file structure for the drive. And we're going to want to search for where our project is at. So we know based off of our thing here that our project is going to be in our Unreal projects. And really what we can do is just copy this path now and do CD, and then just do that. And that has too many arguments. Whoops. All we're going to need is just this part here. Get rid of the D drive part or whatever drive it is and just do that. Oop, I meant to do CD. My bad. There. Oh yeah. You're going to want to put quotations around this, so you're going to want to put single quotation mark around it. That way we're able to get into it, because if there's spaces, there's going to be problems. So now we're in actually the correct file now. And now we can go ahead and type in these commands here that are on this cool little page. So we'll go ahead and bring this up here, and we'll follow along with our cool little guide here from the GitHub LFS website. So all we're going to want to do is do git LFS install. And this will take a sec, and it's going to say, hey, git LFS install updated git hooks, Git LFS initialize. And we could type in clear, and we'll just clear everything out. That's fine. We have that installed now. So now we can do git. So depending on what kind of files you're working on, and depending on their size and stuff, we're going to want to figure out which ones we're going to want to make sure that this is tracking. So I guess in this case, we could follow along with this with a PSD file, but there may be other file formats that you may want to keep track of as well, and we'll go over those as we go. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll do git LFS track quotations like so, star. So shift 8 is going to get the star icon, or the asterisk, or yeah, the asterisk. And we'll go ahead and hit dot and PSD. And now it is going to be tracking PSD files now. We're also going to want to make sure that we get our Git attributes. This has already been added, but if it's not there, you're going to want to do this too. We already know we have a Git attributes file already in here. And now, if you notice in here, we can also change things in the Git attributes file. So we can open this up in Visual Studio Code. And we'll just go ahead and open this up. And you could even change things in here. So as you can see, it's already tracking the PSD file in our Git LFS. So let's also, while we're at it, do Git LFS track. Whoops, I screwed up. Okay, anyway, we can do, we're going to go ahead and clear this. I made a mistake here. Whoops. We do Git LFS track, right? Yeah, Git LFS track. And we'll go ahead and track an FBX file too. So we'll do *.fbx. And that may be a large file that we may want to track. We can also do this again with .blend files. And say we want to include large videos too, so MP4 for whatever reason. And now we can track all these files, and they are all added in real time into our cool little get attributes file here. After we're done here, we don't need to do anything else in the console. That's pretty much all we have to do, so we can close out the terminal and we'll be all set to go. And we're going to go back to our GitHub desktop here, and we're going to need to commit these changes now because we are tracking these bigger files that may be large. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to just go ahead and, you know, honestly, that's a good name, update Git attributes. That's fine. It automatically is in there. We'll go ahead and push that up to our repository, and we are all set to go. So now you are all set for your Unreal Engine project. So now you can work on your project, make changes, commit things, and use GitHub as your source control, as a backup, to work with other people, to do whatever you are needing to do with GitHub. That's pretty much it for this video. So I hope that you found it helpful. If you did find it helpful, please do leave a like and share it if possible with your other friends that may be developers as well, or for anyone that you may that may find this video useful. Be sure to comment if you have any questions. I'll do my best to answer them as well. And if you want a Unity version of this tutorial, also be sure to let me know about that as well. I can also do a Unity version specific for Unity. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. And be sure to check out the Blueprinting 101 repository. It's all up on there now, so I'm probably going to end up mentioning that in the next Blueprinting 101 video. But yeah, it's all set to go, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you have a great day, and peace out.